Kathy here. We'll start by looking at entering some words. For the 6 words that you're going to enter in the template, which you see I have open here, you won't need anything but the method of entering at one point, which you'll remember from the video that I trust you just watched. I'm going to click on my type tool here. I'm going to enter the words time to get off the couch to kind of show you how I approach the little demo plaque that I've got in the assignment. And I'm going to first click once to enter lorem ipsum. This is the placeholder text that Illustrator automatically enters whenever you click anywhere in an artboard. I'm gonna, while that is selected, I can turn that into the word time simply by typing over it. And as you'll see, I have Arial black selected as my font, regular 36 points. I could simply return to type the next words, or I could keep typing them in that line, but I'm going to click over here to my final file. I'm aiming for a very large word time, smaller size for to get off the, and a large word again for couch. So in order to manipulate those sizes a little bit more easily, I'm going to enter these words separately. So I'm going to just click down here for another set of lorem ipsum. I'm going to type to get off the couch, and then whoops, I didn't mean to type couch. I'm going to delete that. And as I promised, I'm going to click again and enter lorem ipsum one more time. There we go. So now I have 3 sets of typography entries. If you want to look at this in another way, you can always open the layers window. You can go to that by opening window and clicking on layers, or if you see this little icon on your screen, you can click on that. Again, I'm in the Essentials Classic view, so if your screen doesn't look like mine, simply go to Window, Workspace, and click on Essentials Classic. This is my preferred view. You may prefer another one though. I'm going to click on layer 1 now, and you will see 3 typographical entries here. This is a place where I clicked and apparently didn't get anything, so I'm just going to simply delete this one by dragging it down into the trash. Okay, now I've got time, to get off, the, and couch here. And I've also got the 3 rectangles that were part of my Illustrator file to start with. So you can see that you can treat these 3 different paths here as different layers. And now I'm going to manipulate the size of these. Let's get this layers window out of the way. And I can do that in 2 different ways. You'll remember from the video that you watched that there's 2 ways of selecting text, and one of them is the word processing way, where I just put a cursor in and you can see my little cursor going like that, and then I'll get a chance here or up here or wherever you like to change the size, and I'll make it the biggest size I can make. That's still not big enough, so what I might want to do is just type in a size, like I can make it 172 points here, and when I click away somewhere, that should jump to the size that I want it. That looks pretty good. I'm going to now select this with the black selection tool and drag it down where I want it in the frame. Let's get to get off the couch out of the way, and let's get couch out of the way. I want to make couch quite a bit bigger too, so I will make it 136 points just to get started. And to get off the is going to need to be a little bit bigger, obviously. We'll make it, I don't know, 95 points just to get it in the ballpark. That's a little bit bigger than what I wanted, so let's take it down to, let's say, well, just take it down to 72. That looks pretty good. Okay, so this way of working with type is familiar to you from working with word processing programs. You get to choose your font. There's a million other fonts that you could choose. You don't have to choose the one I'm choosing, right? And I'm just going to stick with this because it's similar to whatever font I used to create my original design. So the word processing way should be quite familiar, but the other way of working with these things is to select them as paths. And once you do that, you can also distort the paths, you can reflect the paths, you can make the paths go backwards, you can treat them, in other words, like any other Illustrator path, like a shape that you'd made with one of the shape tools. I'm going to get rid of this thing. Hide. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to Command Z that because I didn't necessarily want to make all those changes. And now we're going to look at how to take type out of the realm of being type and into the realm of being an Illustrator path that we can manipulate using its anchor points and Bezier handles and so forth. The thing I want to show you while you're still in the word processing type mode for type is that you can use Object, Envelope, Distort. And whoops, I have to select my object first. So I'm going to go into the black selection tool here and make sure the type is selected like an Illustrator object rather than like a type object. So I'm going to go in there and choose Envelope, Distort, and I'm going to make this with Warp. I wanted my word time to sort of hang down a little bit at the bottom as if it were settling into a couch, right? And so I chose Arc Lower for that, and I'll just show you some of the other options. There's the thing that arcs the whole word. This arcs the top of the word. All sorts of cool bulges and fish shapes that you can use. But I'm going to go with Arc Lower because I wanted the top to be fairly flat, but the bottom to have a bit of a curve, and you get to tell it how much distortion you want and which direction you want the distortion in. But I think something like about like so, sort of what I was after. Let's make it about like that. A little bit more. Okay, I'm going to click OK, and I'm going to go back to my target file that I'm sort of inspired by, and you see the word time here has a little bit of a droop, especially at the bottom, and maybe even just a little bit at the top. So you could go back and adjust that if you chose a different kind of arc. You could put that same arc on this line to get off the, and you could use the top arc for couch if you wanted to do something similar to what I was doing here. The other thing is that you can take these letters out of the realm of being letters. Please make sure that everything is spelled correctly before you do this, because right now I can go in there and, if I choose the type tool, I can put a cursor in and, add letters or take them out if I have something extra. But once you create outlines, you have to really go back and undo your work in order to get back to the word processing approach to your objects. I want to show you, though, how to manipulate the corners and anchor points of a word. And so I'm going to select this word with the black selection tool and go up to the type menu here and go down to create outlines. And once you do that, you will discover, if you click on these words, let's see, especially with the white selection tool, you're going to see a whole bunch of anchor points where you didn't see them before. And I'm going to zoom in here just to show you these anchor points were really here all along, but you weren't dealing with the letters in that shape kind of way. You were dealing with them as a font object. So now if you take your white selection tool and manipulate an anchor point, you'll see, well, first of all, if you select one anchor point like that with one click, you got to select it with a separate click and then click and drag it, you will see that you can manipulate various anchor points. I'm going to Command Z that because I really don't want to do that to my poor you, but I did want to go back and look at these little circles here, which you'll see in the corners of the letters. These are very much like the circles that you once saw in the corners of your rectangles in the very first assignment when you were changing rectangles to rounded rectangles. I don't want to just change the C by dragging on those. I want to change everything in couch. So I'm going to Command Z that. I'm going to go back and select the whole word couch with my black selection tool, and then go in and grab any of these little corner anchor points and make the, let's zoom in a little more so I can see what I'm doing, and then make the corners a little bit more rounded. I guess that's as rounded as I can make these. So my idea with rounding the corners of couch, let me select away so that it looks a little better, was to make it like a softer word, to make it look a little couchier. And you can go back and see that whereas I left the anchor points sharp on time to get off I softened up the anchor points on couch. Okay, so those are some of the little tricks that I used to create this design here. And whoops, there it is. And after this, it was mostly a question of, I took out the square dot because I wanted a circle. I made that circle myself with a shape tool, and I adjusted the way things nestled together and how they interacted with the edge and so forth. So one thing that will really help you is knowledge of how to work with anchor points. And since I've already made a video of that, I'm going to refer you to that video, the pen tool exercise. Some of you did that for extra credit. It's no longer available for extra credit, but it is still available. So go there and to just tune up your pen tool mastery if you find yourself having questions about how to work with anchor points. The pen tool is our basic tool for working with anchor points, for adding them, deleting them, converting them from angled anchor points to smooth anchor points, and pulling out the Bezier handles that allow us to control the curves of vector objects like type can be. Okay, in the next video we're going to look at how to create a pattern in the background that will help tie these shapes to the edges of your plaque. Obviously, if you just work with black type on a white background, when you try to print this, those letters are going to fall out. You have to connect them either to each other or to some kind of pattern in order to contain them within your three-dimensional physical design. An interesting constraint. So we'll see that in the next video.